Good evening, and welcome to Footnotes and Folly. We turn from the sonnets to the longer poems and to the work that first made Shakespeare's name in print. Venus and Adonis, published in 1593, was a runaway bestseller, a long, sensual, witty retelling of the old myth, in which the goddess of love hurls herself at a beautiful young hunter who would, frankly, rather not. I shall give it to you complete, in modern English. Expect comedy, expect seduction, and, this being Shakespeare, expect it all to end at the point of a wild boar's tusk.
As soon as the sun, with its purple face, had taken its last leave of the weeping morning rose, cheeked Adonis set out to the hunt. He loved the chase, but laughed all love to scorn. Lovesick Venus hurries after him, and like a brazen suitor begins to court him. You, she says, are 3 times fairer than I am, the chief flower of the field, sweeter than any nymph, more lovely than a man, whiter and redder than doves or roses. Nature, that made you, at war with her own self, says the world will end when your life ends. Come down, you wonder, from that proud horse, and tie his head to the saddle bow, and if you will grant me that one favor, you shall know, for your reward, 100 honeyed secrets. Sit here with me, where no serpent hisses, and once you are seated, I will smother you with kisses. With that, she seizes his sweating palm, and, trembling with passion, calls it a balm, the sweetest medicine on earth for a goddess. So strong is her desire that it lends her strength. She plucks him clean down from his horse, and tucks him under one arm. He, sullen and unwilling, folds his own arms and sulks. She, red with longing, presses the suit he refuses to hear.
It opens with a glorious reversal of every love poem ever written. The woman is the goddess, the aggressor, the seducer, and the beautiful boy wants only to go hunting. Venus actually hauls him off his horse and tucks him under her arm. Shakespeare is in his 20s here, joying off, and having enormous fun.
He backs him up against a bank of flowers and leans her lovely weight against him, now bold as a wanton, now softening her tone to coax him. He burns with bashful shame. She, with her tears, tries to quench the maiden blush glowing in his cheeks, and then, with quick breaths in her hair for fan, dries the very cheeks she has just made wet again. He calls her shameless. She stops his lips, breathing her words straight into his mouth, telling him, between kisses, not to blush so, and sealing every pause with another kiss. He pants like a young bird newly caught, while she, like a hungry hawk, feeds and is never full. Pity me, she pleads. The goddess kneels to a mortal boy. I, who made the war god himself my servant, who could command whole armies, now beg you so be kind, for love's sake, since love is my only argument. Touch my cheek, it is soft. Look in my eyes, they are bright. Lie on me as lightly as a flower, I am not heavy, and you will not crush me. But he will not be moved. He longs only for the morning, and the hunt, and his horse, and pulls away, his thoughts 100 miles from her arms.
He blushes, she kisses the blush away, he calls her shameless, and she simply stops his mouth with her lips. It is funny, frank, and unmistakably the hand that would write the comedies. And the tragic seed is already planted. He wants the hunt, not the goddess, and the hunt is exactly what will kill him.
He pulls his hand from that lily, white prison. Hot and impatient, he twists free, and when she starts again, he only frowns and looks away. But just then, breaking the moment, his own stallion catches sight of a proud young mare grazing nearby. The horse neighs, the mare answers, and the stallion, suddenly wild with longing, snaps the leather rein and bolts toward her. He rears, he paces, he flings his mane about, he stamps the hollow ground, all to win her notice. Adonis calls after him in vain. The horse will heed neither bridle nor voice. And Venus, watching, can only smile, for here, right in front of the boy who scorns her, is a creature obeying the very law she has been preaching.
Shakespeare interrupts the seduction with one of the most admired set pieces in the poem, a runaway stallion chasing a mare. It is partly a dazzling bit of horse painting, and partly a sly argument. Even your horse, Adonis, knows the thing you refuse to learn.
And what a horse he is, round-hoofed and short. Jointed, with a long mane, small ears, a broad chest, wide nostrils, a high crest, a thick tail, every inch of him better than a painter could draw. He tosses his head as if to tell the dull earth, now I am free. He courts the mare, he prances and shows off, and when she, coy at first, at last softens and turns kind, the two of them gallop away together into the wood, leaving the hunter standing there alone. Then Venus turns the whole scene into a sermon. Look, she says, your own servant, the horse, has more sense than his master. He felt desire, and he followed it, learned from your own beast. Who is so hard-hearted that he would refuse to be loved? Things that keep only to themselves abuse the very gift of growth. Seed springs from seed, and beauty breeds beauty. You yourself were begotten, and it is your plain duty to beget. But Adonis only sulks and waits for his horse to come back.
The proud horse passage doubles as the poem's version of the procreation sonnets. By law of nature thou art bound to breed. Venus reaches for the very argument the poet once aimed at the fair youth. And Adonis, just like the young man, simply is not buying it.
Venus tries every art she knows. She praises his beauty until the praise itself should melt him. She warns him that beauty hoarded is beauty wasted, things kept from all use rot in their own keeping. You are nature's loan, not nature's to keep forever. Make some copy of yourself before you die, or you murder your own line by letting it end in you. She offers herself 100 different ways. But Adonis, worn out by her words, frowns and turns to leave, and at that, Venus, overcome, drops to the ground as if dead, pale and still. The boy, alarmed, kneels down beside her. He pinches her nose, strikes her cheek, bends back her fingers, chafes her wrists and kisses her anything at all to bring her back. And it is the kiss that does it. Her eyes open, and finding herself kissed at last, she would happily stay fainted forever if fainting buys cures like this one.
She runs the procreation argument all over again. Hoarded beauty is wasted beauty, and when that fails, she faints clean away. He panics and kisses her to revive her, and of course that is precisely the kiss she has been angling for the whole poem. Even her collapse turns out to be half a tactic.
But the truce does not hold. He gently pushes her off and at last finds his tongue. I am too young, he says, to know you, and far too young to be made into what you would make me. You would not break a colt before its time, so leave me be. And you call this love, but it is not. Love itself fled back to heaven long ago, the very day that sweating lust stole his name down here on earth. Love comforts like sunshine after rain, but lust's effect is a storm the moment the sun comes out. Love is all truth, lust is stuffed with forged lies. I am ashamed for you and for myself. Let me go now, the morning is almost here and I have a boar to hunt. And with that, breaking free of her arms, he turns toward the dark wood and leaves her standing alone in the night.
Adonis finally answers, and his answer is the moral heart of the poem. Love and lust are not the same thing. Love comforts like sunshine after rain, lust's effect is a tempest. It is the nearest the boy comes to wisdom, and his reward for it, cruelly, will be the boar.
Night has fallen, and Adonis means to go. Venus clings to him and asks what he will hunt tomorrow. The boar, he says, and at the word she turns cold with fear and flings her arms around his neck. The two of them topple, she on her back, he on top of her, and for one moment she hopes, but he only struggles to be up and away. Oh, not the boar, she pleads. Anything but that. I have seen what that brute can do. His tusks are like a butcher's blades, his small eyes burn, his back bristles like a line of spears. He is murder on 4 legs, and he is afraid of nothing. Hunt the timid hare instead, or the fox, or the gentle roe, but not this. Do not go and wake a thing that will kill you. I can see your death in it. I can feel it coming. She prophesies disaster, and holds him as though her arms alone could keep fate out. But he works himself free, and the night swallows him, and she is left there alone, sick with dread, calling his name into the dark.
Her famous warning against the boar is dramatic irony at full pitch. She sees his death coming, names it aloud, begs him out of it, and he goes anyway. Love, here, is completely powerless against a young man's appetite for danger.
All that night Venus cannot rest. She listens, she weeps, she startles at every sound. At the first grey light she hears it the deep baying of hounds, the note that means the quarry has turned and is fighting. Her heart misgives her, and she runs toward the cry through the dewy wood. The first thing she meets is the boar itself, its white mouth stained red, and she recoils in horror. And then, a little further on, in a trampled hollow, she finds him. Adonis is dead. The tusk had found his side, and the boy who would not be touched by love now lies still, his blood upon the flowers, his beauty undone. Venus stands over him, and at first simply cannot believe it, looking, and looking away, and looking again, as if her own eyes must be the ones that are lying.
The death is given quickly, and almost gently, no gore, only the white mouth gone red, and the boy lying still. Shakespeare lets the horror live instead in Venus's refusal to believe it, looking away and back again, as the grief-stricken do. The hunter is hunted, and the one thing he wanted has killed him.
Venus pours out her grief over the body. She rails at death for taking the best of all living creatures. And then, gathering herself, she speaks a prophecy, a curse laid upon love itself. Because love has been torn from her so cruelly, she declares, love will from this day never again run smooth. It will be shadowed always by jealousy, by sorrow, by suspicion. It will begin in joy and end in grief. It will make the strong weak and fools of the wise. It will sow wars and woe. So, in her own grief, she dooms every lover who comes after her. Then, as she watches, the body itself dissolves away beneath her gaze, and where it lay there springs up a small flower, purple, checkered with white, the anemone streaked like the pale cheek in its blood. She stoops, plucks it, and sets it in her bosom, vowing to keep it there as all that is left of him. And then, weary of the whole world, she yokes her silver doves, mounts her light chariot, and is carried up through the empty skyway to Paphos, where the Queen of Love means to shut herself away and hide her sorrow from everyone.
Her grief turns, terrifyingly, into a curse, because love was torn from her. Love itself shall forever be mixed with jealousy, sorrow, and ruin. It is the poem's myth-making climax. This, she decrees over a dead boy, is why love hurts. Then the body becomes a flower, she gathers it up, and the goddess of love simply leaves the world. And there Shakespeare ends his first printed work, the poem that, in 1593, made his name and outsold nearly everything else he wrote in his lifetime. It is young man's work, dazzling, funny, a little in love with its own cleverness, and built on a single sharp idea that desire and love are not the same thing, and that whoever cannot tell them apart, whether goddess or boy, ends in grief. Venus wanted Adonis, Adonis wanted the hunt, and the boar wanted them both. What to read next? Its darker twin, The Rape of Lucrece, which Shakespeare published the very next year and which is not funny in the least. Until then, mind the footnotes. In short, Venus, goddess of love, hurls herself at the young hunter Adonis, who simply refuses her. Adonis insists love and lust are not the same and leaves to hunt the boar she begged him to avoid. The boar kills him. Venus finds the body and is undone by grief. She curses love itself. From now on it will always be mixed with sorrow and jealousy. Adonis becomes a flower. The goddess leaves the world. Shakespeare's 1593 bestseller.